Well, hello and welcome to our presentation about Year 11 destinations for this year's cohort 2022-2023. I'm Steve Clark, I'm the careers lead here at South Bromsgrove High School, and after I've gone through a few slides, my colleague Mrs. Nikki Robinson, the careers officer, will be going into a bit more detail about some of the application processes. But we feel it's really important that parents and students know a lot about the various options out there after compulsory education ends at the end of year 11, and so we're going to give a few pointers to things to be aware of and to look out for, and also key dates. Now, accompanying the email that had the link to this presentation was a document with key dates on, and these are some of them coming up very soon in the mock interviews in school. We feel it's really important that the kids get practice talking about themselves, learning how to sell themselves to a stranger. So we give them a practice and some feedback from that, sometimes immediately verbal with the person who's interviewed them, but there will be written feedback that comes to them. The 12th of October, just the day after, that's the county careers and apprenticeship show at Six Ways. It's outside of school hours, so it's for parents and students to make their own way to, but it's just drop in, you don't have to book, no need to buy a ticket, and I'm sure it'd be packed full of colleges and employers and apprenticeship providers. It'd be a great place to find out what is out there. Now, our students have all gone to our own careers fair, and we'll be repeating that later in the term, but this will be a bit bigger, and it'll be a chance to see things that maybe you haven't thought of as possible options. So we'd really encourage you to drop in and go along to that. Our own sixth form evening is coming up after half term, and very soon after that, the pre-public examinations that we do in all subjects, they'll run at the end of November, and they'll finish on the 30th, which is the Wednesday, and on the Thursday is our own careers fair. And every student in year 11 will get at least half an hour to go around the 40 or more stalls of the various people we have present, universities, local employers, apprenticeship providers, just to explore the options and gather information from them, sometimes to talk, well, what do I need to do? What will happen if I do come to you? All those sorts of questions. So it's a great opportunity, and we're really proud of being able to put this available to all our students. And of course, they were able to see some of these people last year. We were able to run it for the first time after COVID last year, and hopefully with that experience they'll know more clearly who they need to talk to themselves to talk about their options post 16. Our own sixth form give taster sessions after school. They'll be in January, and applications, there's a deadline for them on the 27th of January. That's when we like to get as many as possible in, so that we can see the cohort that we're looking at. We usually have 180 or more students in our year 12, so which is over half of the current year 11. Of course, applications can come in after that, but if we get the vast majority in by the 27th, then we've had a good idea of what we've got and how to set up the timetable to meet their timetable needs, their curriculum needs. Of course, coming up late in the February, there's some extra practice in English and maths being so important. But so post 16 options, a broad brush view. Of course, we've already mentioned school sixth forms. You don't have to go to the sixth form at South. There are other sixth formers available, and that UTC stands for a University Technology College, and the closest one to Bromsgrove is the one in Aston, just along the cross city line. You could get there on a train, Bromsgrove to Aston. The Aston University Engineering Academy is available as an option for our students to go to, particularly maybe if they've got a desire for engineering, but we cater for that well here with our own courses, maths, physics, computing, and the courses in technology. Sixth form colleges are also available, and the further education colleges that often combine with sixth form colleges. So Cadbury College is a sixth form college. Hales Owen is an FE college that offers technical courses as well as a sixth form experience with A levels. And there are other colleges around, of course, like Southern City at Longbridge, and Howe College here in Bromsgrove, and a bigger campus in Redditch. And of course, apprenticeships. They are becoming more of a popular option, and I'll say something about them in a moment. I'd recommend you visit this website, though on the handout that came with the email with a link to this presentation, there are other websites suggested, but this is really good for whether you're a parent or a learner, a student, to go in and explore options, particularly for our students here in Worcestershire. Of course, we're very lucky in Bromsgrove that there are options for study and employment just up the road, the A38, or along the railway line into Birmingham, with lots of opportunities there. So keep your eyes open, not just in Worcestershire, but things in Birmingham. Now, I want to say something about the future for our students. I've used a number of factors to think about. One of the things people like to say nowadays is that we are preparing our students, our children, for jobs that do not yet exist. Some of you may do a job now that didn't exist when you were in school. And there are various factors that affect this. The advancement of technology, computers and artificial intelligence are changing how we work, the way we work, and the jobs available. Brexit has had a bit of an impact on that, with perhaps companies moving their jobs around the world. So globalization is another factor there. Before, if you've been part of my presentations, here it is. It comes from the Bloomberg news agency in America, and they did it 5 years ago in 2017, and I'll explain it in a bit more detail in a moment, but it's basically looking at whether the current jobs out there are in danger of being taken off human beings and being automated in some way and given to a robot or some artificial intelligence computer to do it for them. So I'll just explain this. The color coding is the level of qualification. So the rainbow of colors there, if you're at the red end, you've got less qualifications, or you're doing a job that isn't. So what about Bromsgrove and where we are? Would you be able to say what the biggest employer in the area, or the employment sector, what do people come to Bromsgrove to do if they're coming to work here, and who are the key employers? Well, there's a slide coming up just now which shows those. Just have a little think about what you might say. What companies, what are the names of the companies in Bromsgrove? Well, this information comes from the county, and you can see there that the biggest employment sector is business admin, okay, office work, then there's health, and then education. And there's the Bromsgrove School, as well as North and South and all the middle schools, taking up a lot of employment in Bromsgrove. And though that box in the middle there that says key employers, they're not necessarily by size, but importance to the area, and you might recognize a company name that you're looking for. And there's some information on the right there about the makeup of Bromsgrove, and those top 10 industry sectors you can see at the top: business, health, education. I'm not quite sure what's grouped, and you can see there that it's manufacturing in Redditch, more industrialization, and we do work with some of the companies on the list, or have worked closely with them in the past, tying in, particularly in my area, which is maths and physics, engineering. Our sixth formers have done projects with some of those companies listed there. But the interesting, you spot there's Amazon and NHS. The NHS are always big employers somewhere in the country. So that's what we call the labour market information. And if you're thinking, well, I'm not quite sure what to do, well, maybe you just need to make sure you get a job, and it's in one of the. Now, there's a couple of slides here before Mrs. Robinson says some more details about applications, about apprenticeships, because they really are a very good thing. Work-based training programs, so you earn as you learn. The pay isn't great as much as the living wage, but it is pay. Particularly when you get to the degree level apprenticeships, you will have your training paid for, and you get paid a wage as you do that. So you could come out of a degree apprenticeship with a qualification at degree level and no student loan to pay off. It will mean you will have had to have studied and worked at the same time, so it might not be what you want to do. You won't have as many weeks holiday as somebody who, say, goes to university, but there's a lot to be said for maybe coming out of your final qualification at degree level without a loan to pay off over 40 years, as the regulations are now. Now, when you do an apprenticeship, there are a few elements within it. You naturally have to learn the skills of the apprenticeship. You get a technical certificate. You will do exams about it. You still have to study English, Maths and IT, the key skills that make you employable in any sector. You'll learn those soft skills, teamwork, communication. They're important anywhere you work. And so here's a bit more information about apprenticeships. There's a wide range available. They can take 1 to 4 years depending on the level of apprenticeship, and the ones that are year 11 will be looking at applying for these top two here, the intermediate level or the advanced level. So instead of doing A levels, going straight into an apprenticeship, training up in a qualification within a company, earning as they're learning. And FE colleges offer these, businesses offer these. If you're an employer out there and you've never offered an apprenticeship yourself, you might look into it as an option for recruiting.
Hello, my name is Nikki Robinson and I'm the Careers Advisor at South Bromsgrove High School. It is my job to work with our students on their future planning and their options at the end of year 11 to make sure that whatever they decide to go on to do is the right choice for them and will help them to achieve their long-term goals and aspirations. This evening I'm going to talk to you about what options are available at the end of year 11 and what students should be doing now to ensure they make the right choice for them after their GCSEs. So the first question is, what are the options at the end of year 11? You may already know this, but students are now required to stay in education or training until their 18th birthday. Some students will want to continue their education at South, while others will be looking for a new experience somewhere else. So here are their choices. Students can stay on at South, and we usually have about half of the year group come back to sixth form. We offer a range of A-levels and BTEC subjects, and we will come on to the differences between those qualifications in a moment. They can look at a different sixth form or a different sixth form college. These also usually offer a range of A-levels and BTECs. They could look at other colleges such as Howe College, which is our closest college, or maybe Hales Owen College. These typically offer a range of vocational qualifications, although some do offer A-levels and BTECs too. They could look at an apprenticeship, which involves working whilst gaining qualifications, or a traineeship if an apprenticeship isn't quite right for them just yet. Finally, they could look at the military, and we usually have 2 or 3 students each year that choose this option at 16. So the next question is, what do students need to think about when deciding between these options? The first thing to consider is that some careers have very specific routes into them, or a very specific subject requirement after GCSE. If students have a clear career idea in mind, it is very important that they research carefully the entry requirements for this career. If students can't find what they're looking for, they can book an appointment with myself or come and find me and I will go through the best sources of information. The second thing to think about is how students like to learn and how they like to be assessed. Do they prefer coursework or do they prefer exams? Are they looking for a hands-on course or do they want to be classroom based? This might guide their choice at the end of year 11 about what type of qualification is better for them. Students should look really carefully at the content of the course that they want to do. Does it cover what they want it to cover and what they are most interested in? Sometimes courses with the same name can cover different topics at different schools and different colleges. Finally, what are the entry requirements for the courses that they actually want to do? Again, this varies between school and colleges, so check this carefully when looking at the course. Are they on track to achieve the entry requirements? Do they need to do something to be able to achieve the entry requirements? Or do they need to consider a plan B alongside their first choice, just in case? I'd like to look briefly at the difference between the qualifications available at the end of year 11. First of all, A-level and BTECs. There are a range of A-level and BTEC qualifications available, and if students choose either of these qualifications or maybe a combination of both, they will typically study more than one subject, usually 3, over a 2-year period. A-levels are usually assessed through exams, and BTECs are usually more focused on careers and can be a mix of coursework and exams, but it's really important to check the content of each course that students are interested in to make sure it's the right one for them. Entry requirements do vary between different schools and colleges and between different subjects. Most will ask for a specific grade in maths and English. Some may ask for a specific grade in other GCSE subjects too. Moving on to vocational qualifications. Now these are offered at colleges and are available in a wide variety of subjects, usually very practical subjects like engineering, hair and beauty, construction and many, many more, and also some other subjects like sciences and business studies. Students would usually choose one subject if they decided to do this type of qualification. Vocational qualifications are usually assessed through coursework, portfolio and observations. And the entry requirements for these types of qualifications do vary between different courses and do vary between different levels of qualification too, but will usually ask for specific grades in maths and English. T-levels are a newer qualification that were first introduced in September 2020. They've been created in collaboration with employers and businesses to provide qualifications that are relevant to industries and that develop the skills and knowledge that businesses are looking for. 80% of students' time is spent at college and 20% in a work placement that supports the work they're doing for the qualification. They take 2 years to complete and are the equivalent of 3 A-levels. There are more T-level subjects being made available each year, and information about what each college is offering can be found in their prospectuses, but I've listed some of the T-levels that are currently available at local colleges on this slide. Another option that's available is an apprenticeship. Now, apprenticeships are learning whilst working, so apprentices are employed by a company and they will receive a wage. Apprentices usually work with the company for about 4 days a week and attend college or a training provider 1 day a week, undertaking qualifications that are relevant to the role that they are doing with the employer. This can vary though from employer to employer and training provider to training provider, but essentially 80% of their time should be working and 20% of their time focused on the qualification. Apprenticeships are advertised throughout the year. There isn't a common timetable that trainers or companies stick to, but most apprenticeships usually come up in the spring and students need to be ready to apply for those apprenticeships when they are advertised. So what should our Year 11 students be doing next and how can you support them? For students who are looking at schools and colleges and for those looking at apprenticeships, the first step and the first thing that they should be doing is research. Research is massively important and they need to research different schools and colleges and different courses that are available to them. Remember to look at the course content, the way the course is assessed and the entry requirements for those courses, because this can differ from between schools and colleges. They should attend open events of anywhere that they are interested in finding out more about. I've sent a list of open days to students' email addresses and I've also put a copy of these on the school website in the careers section for you to have a look at. Now, whilst those dates are set at the moment, this can be subject to change, so I do recommend that you check the website of the school or college before you attend their open event for up-to-date information, and there may be the option to register as well. Finally, encourage students to weigh up their options and think carefully about what they want to do and what is right for them. If they do want to come and have a chat with me, they can book an appointment by sending me an email, or they can ask their form tutor to send me an email on their behalf. So if the student has decided that an apprenticeship is the right route for them, what should they do next and how can you support? As with colleges, the first thing to do is research. What sort of apprenticeship do they want to do? How do they want their days to look? What are they looking to get from an apprenticeship? What qualifications do they want to gain? Then they need to sign up for a range of apprenticeship websites. I've put just a couple of examples on this slide, but students should then be keeping an eye on these websites for any vacancies that come up and any other information that is given on those websites, as this may help them too. Ideally, I would like to see these students to discuss apprenticeships in more depth and give more information on how and where to look for apprenticeships, and I'd like to see these students by Christmas. They can book an appointment with me by emailing me to let me know this is their first choice, or by speaking to their form tutor who can drop me an email. Finally, it's really worth noting that apprenticeships can be very competitive, so it's really important to explore a backup plan such as school or college whilst they continue to look for an apprenticeship, so that they have this plan in place just in case. So the last slide from me is where can our students go for support and what is out there to support them as they make these decisions. I'm available every day at school for one-to-one appointments. I do aim to see the vast majority of our Year 11s either through a one-to-one appointment or through a group work by the end of the year, but if you feel that your child would like to be seen sooner rather than later, please send me an email and I will get them booked in as soon as I can. It would be really useful if you could let me know on that email details about what the student might want to talk about in that interview, as this helps me to put the right amount of time for them. If students have no idea what they would like to do, there are a number of career quizzes that students could use to identify their likes and dislikes or their skills and interests, and these quizzes match the students with careers or industries that might be of interest to them. The school subscribes to a careers service called Zello, and all students have access to this from their student homepage. There are other websites that they could use as well, and I've listed some of these on this slide. Now, most of these websites also enable students to look up specific jobs to find out more about them. So if they have an idea about the job that they think they want to have, it will give them the opportunity to find out more about that career. One of the other things that I introduced in the last couple of years is the careers newsletter. This will be starting again this year, and this will come out to you as I have information to share with you. So anything that I think is worthwhile or anything that I think is interesting, I will get out to you via that newsletter. And that's it from me. So I hope this information has been useful in finding out more about the range of options that's available at Year 11. I'm happy to receive emails from parents if they feel that you have more questions, but otherwise that's it from me. Thank you. Bye bye.
So thank you for watching. Thank you for the time that you've spent with us this evening. I hope the information has been useful. This presentation will still be available on the YouTube channel for the school, and you've got the link for it so you can come back to it. But if you have any questions, there are the email addresses of myself and Mrs. Robinson. We wish all our Year 11 students all the best success for the future, and we are totally here to support them and push them forward to the best future that they can have. Thank you very much.